Abdurrahman, head of the Snake Bite Training and Research at Kaltungo. And also, I'm a lecturer with the Department of Community Medicine and Public Health at the State University, and where I'm the coordinator of the Public Health Program of the university. I'm here with my wife. The teacher with government girls at secondary school, Kaltungo. And of course, I'm having 2.5 children. Amen. So I'll be brief. I will be going straight forward so that because the timing I have is a bit brief. The idea is that, when we talk about Kaltungo, the best thing that comes to your mind in the camp is snake. And of course, you hear a lot of stories of how snake bites people, how it kills people, how it deals with people, and so many other things. And of course, this actually frightens people that actually have a desire to come here. By the way, I'm from Cham. I'm Cham by tribe in Malanga local Romania, just a town between us, just the last town before Adamawa State, from Gombe side. So sometimes there is that kind of fear that when you come in, of course, snake will bite you, and when they bite you, of course, you're going to die of something mandatory. So the idea of snakes becomes like a story everywhere that people are afraid of. And of course, whenever you're coming to Kaltungo, it's already links into your mind. Interestingly, the idea of snakes is exaggerated, more than expected. Yes, there are snakes in Kaltungo, we agree. But snakes are creatures that tend to avoid humans as much as possible. So whenever human activity increases, they shift. So the more activities is taking place in that area, they shift. So at the end of the day, you have less of them within Kaltungo town. You only have them in the outskirts of Kaltungo. Well, by and large, there are 3 species. I want to be very brief and going straight forward. There are 3 main species that are implicated in bite, that are considered medically important in this part of the world. And of course, these ones are the carpet vipers. The carpet viper is what we call in Hausa Kubukua. Gobele Misa, of course, in Hausa as well. And Fulani, they call it Potori, Buneri. Or Stangali, people call Laprot. And then we call those ones that you may understand. Igbo, they call it Paramole. And I think, the Yorubas, the Igbos call it Echi Etika. I don't know whether I specify the name or I call it. Yes. Actually, this is actually the smallest of them in size, but it's dangerous of all of them. It's actually, unfortunately for us, is implicated in 95% of bites in our hospital. 95% and above of patients that comes to the facility are usually bitten by this carpet viper. And of course, usually we see pictures and movies where we see snakes biting like this. These are the cobras. But actually, carpet viper goes angular. And of course, it's actually smaller in size. And mostly, you see it in this part of the world. In fact, it's common in northeastern part of the country. And mostly when it bites you, it releases a venom. But there is a principle here. Venoms of snakes are not meant for predatory reasons. They are for defensive. They are not for predatory reasons. They are not for defensive reasons. They are for predatory reasons. What do I mean? What I meant is that whenever snake bites you so that it will eat you, that's the standard, normally. So that means it only bites animals that it can consume, normally. So mostly the venom is for the snake to bite an animal, kill it, and of course eat it. But now, in a situation whereby when it's for defensive reasons, it tends to run away or it bites a dry bite. That is the standard. But the problem is that mostly as snakes grows up, when the smaller snakes do not understand the basic principle. As usual, a child doesn't know when to stop playing, and of course when to lie down and all that. So the same thing with snakes. They do not know the function of this venom, mostly the younger snakes. So at the end of the day, when they bite you, they release almost all their venoms to you at that age. And that entails why the younger, smaller snakes are more dangerous than the older ones. Because the older ones understand the function of the venom better. They know that the venom is meant for you to kill and eat, not to bite and run. So at the end of the day, the older snake tends to be more milder in terms of their bite as well. Another thing is the level of provocation. Mostly when they are provoked seriously, so much so that they are actually running for their life, they will bite and release higher amount of venom. But whenever they are just being threatened, they just bite. So at least 20% of bites from carpet vipers are dry bites. They do not contain venoms. Mostly carpet viper, when it bites you, it actually breaks the coagulation system. That is your ability of your blood to clot. So at the end of the day, bleeding starts coming out from old wounds, from orifices. When I say orifices, from anus, from mouth, from penis, from ureters, lumen, and all that. And apart from that, that side continues to bleed because it actually breaks the ability of the blood to clot. So these are the symptoms, swelling and all that. That's what carpet viper does. And of course, the second species I want to rush over the three of them is the what we call the Biting's areatans. Actually, the Biting's areatans are the second most common snakes around, and of course these ones are called puff adder in English, and in Hausa we call them kasa, and of course the Fulani people call them kasari, and the Yoruba people call them olfa, and the Igbo call them oka. This is the type of snake. Usually it has a thick body, the neck is a bit slimmer, but as you approach through the body part, it's a bit thick. There was a picture of a lady that is from Gombe State that was playing with snake that was displayed in social media a few weeks back. That snake is king cobra. That one doesn't bite. Hello? The one that she was playing on social media. That one doesn't bite. It's actually, you find it even in the palace of Kaltungo. Whenever visitors come, it shows that kind of snake. That one doesn't bite. So, that one is more or less like for play and for pets. But this one, hello, you know the picture went viral and so many people were saying Tangale lady and all that. That one is a king cobra, doesn't bite, it only plays and assault. If you touch it, it just coils whenever you touch it. It doesn't bite. Now, the idea is that a snake doesn't bite is interesting. Is that so? That's by the way. Now, the reason why I bring that example is that the puff adder resembles that type of snake. It has a slimmer neck and head, and as you approach the main body part, the size increases, and as you approach the tail, the size decreases. So this one actually is mainly, this one doesn't trouble people a lot, it puts under a lot of pressure, that's when it bites. But at the end of the day, the bite contains cytotoxicity, it causes gangrene. These are the ones that when you touch, when they bite you, of course, they destroy the part of the limb where we have to amputate or remove the limb completely. These are the bites. And then the next is the cobra. Now, cobra is what we know a lot, of course, in the movies, because this is the one that spreads its legs, head, and of course, bites directly. Well, the kind of cobra that we have here is Nigerian, we call it spitting cobra. That cobra that we have here doesn't have a little venom. So that is why it spits. It spits. It aims your eyes and spits its saliva. That's what it does. But that saliva is a bit dangerous, it can cause blindness, depending on the quantity that reaches your eyes. So naturally, because of the fact that it doesn't have a lot of venom, it spits so that it will scare away people around it, and of course, it can cause blindness when it actually reaches your eyes. So mostly those ones that raise their head like this, we usually advise our patients as much as possible take care of your eyes, because it aims your eyes directly and release saliva. That's what it does. And immediately you release saliva, you're struggling with your eyes, it runs. You don't actually stay to fight. After a snake doesn't, it's not like in the movies, where a snake will stand and look at you and trying to fight you, or fighting you, or fighting you. Snake doesn't behave this way. Snake tries to run away whenever it sees you. And whenever it's uncomfortable, it runs away. It doesn't actually stay. So as much as possible, what it does is that it runs and all of you can run, and of course everybody will be safe as opposed to that. But interestingly, that one is called Ogwegu, Igbo, and of course Isebe in Yoruba. And of course it's Gamasheka, Kobuchi, Baki, in Europe, the Fulani people call it Kamsul, and so many other names. Now, generally, having a look at the different species that we talked about, let's see briefly the phase 8. Whenever a snake bites you, there are principles here. We used to know that when a snake bites you, you tie the place so that the venom will not spread. And we used to know that when a snake bites you, of course, you run. When a snake bites you, maybe you shout and all that. The principle is simple. When a snake bites you, it releases a venom. And that venom spreads around your body and causes the effect of that particular venom. It's a toxic or the hematoxic effect depending on the kind of venom. Now, the normal thing is that if there is a way you're going to limit its movement, it's good. But not through tying. When you tie it, it spreads around that part of the body and of course causes the devastating effect of the venom not being localized. At the end of the day, you may end up with an amputation. You have to move your legs when you come to the hospital. So you don't tie it. Hello? Right. You don't what? Tie it. When a snake bites you, of course, you kill the snake if you can. You cannot be able to kill the snake, don't worry. Just immobilize the leg, don't use the leg. Don't run. Hello? Don't run. Very important. Don't cross a river. Very important. Somebody may tie this to spirituality. Crossing the river. Now, let's do it practically. Now I'm a scientist and a researcher as well. Whenever you're crossing the river, what do you usually notice? Your heart rate increases. No matter the shallowness of the river, your heart rate will increase. There is that kind of fear that comes to you whenever you're crossing the river. So at that point, there is increase in heart rate. So whenever there is a snake bite, that means there will be increase in spread of the venom to all parts of the body. So automatically, that's why we don't advise you to cross the river. Of course, you don't walk because the more you walk, the contracting effect of your muscles, leads to continuous spread of the venom to your system. So the normal thing is to immobilize the leg. That's you don't use the leg. Carry the person on a bike or a car or anything. And of course, take paracetamol as well, because you don't take ibuprofen, because ibuprofen, the side effect of ibuprofen is equal to the effect of the venom. As such, it will actually multiply the effect of the venom, and of course, you can rush and be brought to the hospital. Well, in Kaltungo, last year we saw 2,189 patients last year, with only 58 deaths. And now the interesting part of it is that the first part of the year we saw 1,022 patients with only 9 deaths because they were free anti-snake venom. Whenever there is no free anti-snake, the death multiplies. So at the end of the day, we had 48 when there was no anti-snake venom. But interestingly, we are happy because very soon the federal government is coming in, of course, so that it will take care of the anti-snake venoms, and of course we will have less deaths. Then, of course, another thing is the fact that when snake bites you, immediately you rush to the hospital, you are treated, and you get well. 58 out of 2,189 is like 0.001 case per calculator. That means 100 people, out of every 100 people, you have 0.5 people dying. That's a good number. Now, another thing is that last year we saw 2003 we saw 2,594 patients. We just 38 deaths because we had anti-snake venom available as a then. So interestingly, let me put it that way, that snake is actually not something that you'll be afraid of. Hello? What you need to know is that whenever it happens that it bites you, it's actually, you become, you carry to the hospital, where we will ensure we are there and there. How we ensure that no copper dies from snake bite as far as much as possible, we ensure that we bite and snake venom, even when there is none. We make sure that our scientific team research and bring out something that will be given to you. Now, at the end of the day, let me conclude this, that snakes are our friends. Why? Imagine if you eliminate all the snakes in the Kaltungo, what will happen? Now, if somebody is studying biology, you understand what we call ecosystem. A particular animal controls the growth of another animal through predatory reasons. Now, whenever you don't have snake, you have higher amount of rats in Kaltungo. One. And of course, unfortunately, the rats that we have here in Kaltungo are friendly to Lassa. Yes. And we all know that Lassa is more dangerous than snake bite. Hello? Hi. So that means their presence also plays a vital role in protecting the environment on our behalf. Yes, hello? So, but as much as possible, but the question is that when you see it, do you kill it or you leave it?
I like to go.
I'm a clinician, and a doctor, and of course a public health physician. So I believe that controlling illness is more important than treating it. So when you see it, you kill it. Because your killing it actually reduces the population of snakes. Because one interesting thing about snakes is that when a snake hatches, lays 10 eggs, all the children will survive. None will die. It's not like chicks that when they hatch, of course, do one or two die. Because they don't have a lot of predators. Animals that consume them. You don't have a lot of them here. So if they hatch 10 eggs, all of them will survive. Hello? Wow. So killing them is like practically reducing their population, but it's not meant to eliminate them. No matter how much you kill snakes in Kaltungo, you're not able to eliminate them. Because they will still deliver. They will still hatch, lay eggs and deliver. And of course hatch the eggs. So their number will still continue to be maintained. So when you see them, you what? Kill it. It doesn't do anything. Thank you very much.